So let's get to the big three.
Number 3.
We spoke about the importance in a moment such as this, where politics is often characterized by a language of darkness. I had to walk through a number of New Yorkers who told me to go back where I came from.
Oh, that's so sad. Socialist communist Zoran Mamdani does not have endorsements from almost any major sitting Democratic leader. But he has a fan in, drum roll please, Barack Obama. What we now know about these two.
Number 2.
They must comply. Yesterday, I sent out 33 letters to mayors around this country saying you must comply. We want to know what you're doing to comply with our federal government.
Taking over D.C., President tosses sanctuary city status, tears up homeless encampments, and begins the cleanup while Democrats inadvertently seem to go to bat for crime? I don't get it, but they're suing to get control back of D.C. Who will win?
Number 1.
It's like a chess game. This meeting sets up the second meeting. But there is a 25% chance that this meeting will not be a successful meeting, in which case I will run the country, and we have made America great again already in 6 months.
So there it is. President of the United States with me yesterday talking about what is at stake in a matter of hours when the Trump-Putin summit takes place in Alaska. We're going to look at the stakes, the strategy, and what I expect to happen. And it looks like they have a big economic contingent to the President Putin's traveling expedition. We have our Treasury Secretary and Commerce Secretary going, and John Radcliffe, Director of the CIA. So they are equipped to answer and do a lot of things and not postpone things. But nothing happens unless there's a ceasefire first and then a security guarantee. Julian Epstein joins us now. Julian, first off, before we get into why President Obama would go out of his way to call Zoran Mamdani, I don't get it. I want to talk about the stakes for this summit. You know, this president's unorthodox. We have to get used to it. Stop criticizing that he breaks protocols and normal mores. What do you expect to happen today?
Well, yeah, breaking protocols. I mean, look what happened with NATO, right? They're at 5% or moving to 5% of spending. I mean, he has defied conventional wisdom on every foreign policy issue, and he's turned out to be proven right and the experts wrong frequently. And look at the number of victories he's had, you know, with Rwanda, Iran, denuking Pakistan, the Thailand, Cambodia, Armenia. So he's on a roll. And I think what a lot of commentators are missing, Brian, is people keep saying, well, if Putin doesn't bend knee, then Trump's going to impose all of this sanctions and it's all of these sticks. I think what Trump is going to be talking about is look at the carrots, Putin. If you work with us and start to integrate your economy into the West, you can benefit a great deal. And, you know, we can open up trade. We can open up all kinds of economic avenues for you. And I think there's much more appeal to Putin so long as he gets sort of security guarantees on NATO not expanding towards integrating into the Western economy than going towards the nihilism of, you know, the alliance with Iran and China. And I think there's a much greater future for Russia if they try to come west. And I think that's what Trump's thinking about, because Trump's always thinking business. He's always thinking about how can you make yourself a better country. And I think there are many more bright answers for Russia if they look west rather than look east.
Right. I just think it all starts with ceasefire, and then they start with security guarantees, and then anything can happen. Here's what President Trump told me yesterday about the chances of being successful. Cut 5. Is there any scenario where Donald Trump will look at this meeting in Alaska and say, this was not worth it, I failed?
Yeah, 25%.
And you would say that if he just says, "Hey, I'm going to stay with myself."
All the time and energy, and went over there, and we didn't come out with in a short period of time. Not from this meeting. This meeting sets up the second meeting. The second meeting is going to be very, very important because that's going to be a meeting where they make a deal. And I don't want to use the word divvy things up, but you know, to a certain extent, it's not a bad term. Okay. But there will be a give and take as to boundaries, lands, et cetera, et cetera.
So that's pretty candid, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look, this is Biden's war. This is a war that occurred because Biden made so many failures and because he was perceived as weak coming out of Afghanistan and sort of minor incursions are okay. And Putin's going into this, I think, with the mindset that I can play the long game here. I've got a bigger army and the West will fatigue. So why not just sort of wait these guys out and I can get more land? And I think that's Putin's calculation. And so Trump has a tall order of changing that around. And again, I think it is not just the sanctions, it's not just the sticks that Trump can impose, which is, I would say to my friends on the left, when you want to take away Trump's tariff authority, this is one of the sticks you take away and trying to get Russia to move in the right direction. But I honestly think that Trump is going to go in there, what has been underreported. And again, as I just said, I think he's going to make the argument to Putin, you gain a lot more by working with us than trying to continually fight us. And if he pulls this off, this is another Nobel. I mean, I think he is entitled to the Nobel on what he did in Iran alone. And if you look at the other peace agreements as well. But again, this is sort of, Trump keeping his own counsel, marching to the beat of his own drummer. And he very well may very well show the world again that he has sort of, figured out how to unlock the key. He's figured out how to find the key to this lock here and unlock the ruse. And if he pulls this off, this is going to be a major part of his legacy.
Well, put it this way, if they get a ceasefire to a second meeting, that'll be enough, because I'd be pleased with that. If they could say, look, in 1 week or 2 days, we're going to stop fighting. You get Zelensky on a Zoom call, and then you plan a trilateral with Zelensky, that's on the path. If you could just get on the path with a cessation of violence, that would be a huge break. But you got to hope that it stays like that. But the president knows he can't swap Ukraine's land. So there's only so much that could possibly take place. By the way, I'm doing a special tonight between 7 and 9, right after Brett Baer's special. And Brett Baer, by the way, just so you know, Julian, we've been going back and forth. Vladimir Putin has not said no to him. He still hopes to talk to Putin. And the only reason, in my humble opinion, that they would stay on track to talk to Brett, because they know it's the president's favorite channel. The only way they'd stay on track to talk to Brett is that they thought something positive was going to come out of it, in my view. If they plan on giving the president the Heisman, you wouldn't even think about doing a Fox interview after. Do you agree with my reasoning?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that's a big tell. If Brett gets that interview, it's a big tell. I think if there's a second meeting, to your point, that's a big tell that things are headed in the right direction. By the way, congratulations on your get with Trump yesterday, too. That was a big get for you. No doubt. So, yeah, I mean, I think if there's a second meeting for sure, and Brett gets the interview, I think it shows you where Putin's head is. And again, this will be miraculous. And I can't imagine that the country in unison would not be cheering Trump's leadership. I think they should be in all these other deals. I mean, what did Biden get accomplished when he was president?
So
on anything comparable? Nothing.
He prided himself on NATO and the relations he had with those leaders, but it wasn't effective. So, by the way, we're talking to Julian Epstein. He's streaming if you're watching us on the app. So Zohran Mamdani, as you know, has about a 20 double figures, is between 14 and 25-point lead to become the next mayor of New York City. But he doesn't have Hakeem Jeffries, Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand. Nobody's talking about endorsing him. They meet with him, but they don't endorse him. But it turns out President Obama called him in June and gave him substantial advice. Listen to this, cut 37.
That call happened soon after the primary. It was a call that I was honored to receive, and the contents of it were focused on the campaign that we ran, the importance of hope in our politics, and the ways in which we govern to deliver on that.
So you get it. He's also has the Obama cadence of one word every 10 minutes. But Julian, why would seriously, politically, why would the President Obama pick up the phone and call him?
We had this conversation in January. I think are at the end of the Obama era, and I think we are at the nadir, the lowest point of Obama influence as the party sort of deconstructs. And I think Obama, who's always been the way most politicians are, somewhat opportunist, is looking to make himself as relevant as he can with the ascendant wing of the Democratic Party, which is the socialist wing. And I think he does not want to slip into irrelevance. And I think this is his easy way of trying to stay relevant. But, it identifies the problem for Democrats, which is they are going to be asked about Mamdani wherever they go. They cannot escape this. And the brand of Mamdani, is gentry socialism, welfare for the elites. It's the first generation that wants to freeload rather than build. They all come out of this liberation theology, pedagogy that's happening in our universities. Cultural Marxism, let's tax whitey, gender transitions for everyone, and alliance with the closest thing we have to modern day Nazism, which is Hamas. You've seen Mamdani and those around him continually parrot the language and the rhetoric of Hamas and sort of explain away many of their atrocities and ideologies. This is a brand that will kill the Democratic Party.
But doesn't he know that? But Julian, doesn't he know that? Wouldn't you think that Obama just got burned backing Kamala Harris and getting rid of Biden, so he alienates a certain element. He endorses Harris, and Harris loses. So then he's got this socialist, a Bernie Sanders, younger version of an extreme Bernie Sanders, and he says, "Let me be a part of that momentum." I just think his political instincts have never been questioned, and now I'm wondering about that.
I think you're right to question its political instincts, and I think it's the same with the party. What the party leaders know, like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, is that Mamdani is poison for the national brand, but they don't know what to do about it. So you don't have somebody like a Bill Clinton in the 1990s who can come in and do a Sister Soldier and say, these guys are nuts.
Yeah.
And so what they try to do is they have it both ways. They try to say, well, I'm not going to come out and endorse you, so I can't have that hung around my neck, but I'm also going to play footsie with you. Well, when you play footsie with socialists and you play footsie with cultural Marxists and you play footsie with, as so much of the socialist left does, with Nazis, then you just wind up in a bad place. You keep hearing Democrats call Republicans Nazis. The word Nazi, it means the National Socialist Party of Germany in the 1930s. And socialists have long had a close association with Nazism. I mean, look at Jeremy Corbyn in UK and look at the evolution in the last, say, 80 years. And right now, the socialist wing of the Democratic Party is closely aligned with a Nazi movement in the Mideast that's masquerading as a liberation movement. And so this is the kind of thing that you see when a party is in decline and it is trying to hold on to support wherever it can find it. A party that's growing is a party that builds. A party's always trying to build new coalitions and new voters. A party that's in decline is a party that is too scared to offend the most extreme elements because it fears that its tent is shrinking and it doesn't want to further shrink it.
So I want you
that's what this shows.
Now, I want you to hear what Hakeem Jeffries said when he was asked the same question on another channel, on CNBC, Cut 43.
You're talking about a free market on one side and being an advocate for a free market on one side, but at the same time, we just had a whole conversation about an individual who is running for mayor in New York City who is genuinely titling themselves a socialist. And you're saying that you might ultimately support them. And so I'm trying to understand the distinction here.
No. I'm trying to understand why you would spend a significant amount of time asking me about the Democratic nominee who's not even the mayor, and it's not a legitimate point to raise about a president who is regularly attacking the free market economy.
So, and he went on. They went back and forth. He got offended that they're bringing up the guy that just beat Cuomo by 20 points, who's a socialist. That's an economic question on a business channel. How pre-think some of this stuff. That's not the way a leader should be acting.
Well, I don't think Hakeem Jeffries is a very effective spokesman. I mean, he speaks in sort of these almost, fifth grade
I know.
cliches, and he can never really answer the substance of a question. He just gives you an epithet. I don't find his answers very substantive or persuasive. I think his days may be numbered as a Democratic leader, as I think Chuck Schumer's is. But again, it highlights my point, Brian, which is that the Democrats are dancing around this question right now. They're dancing around the question.
Run
of the
from it or
socialist
do
left.
it. Yeah, just real quick. Final
But
thought.
they won't confront it. And this is a slow walk to suicide.
Julian Epstein, thanks so much. Have a great weekend, Julian.
Okay, Brian, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I probably don't have to tell you that President Trump has his critics. Maybe one's Tom Cruise, who decided not, he said, a scheduling conflict, to accept his Kennedy Award. Tomi Lahren's here. She's host of OutKick's. Tomi Lahren is fearless. You listen to her anytime she's on OutKick, and she's all over the channel. Tomi, welcome back.
Good to be here.
You're going to be on Outnumbered, too.
I am.
So in terms of critics, this is what I was building up to, because the audio is not great. I felt as though we should introduce it. Alec Baldwin's talking again. So it turns out he's not for the D.C. crackdown. Let's watch.
What's going to happen next? Is Trump going to federalize the New York City Police Department? What's after that? Chicago, L.A., Miami, Boston, and on and on. What's after that? The NFL, the NBA, you're going to federalize them and take them over? All he wants to do is deflect from his inadequacy by these bold, insane moves. Take over D.C. police. It's not what I need. I don't need this D.C. police to be taken over. I don't. I need to get the tariffs over with. I need to get the war over with. I need to get the Gaza thing over with. And after that, we have something else we have to get over with.
So your thoughts, Tomi, about the touchstone?
What a clown. Also, the
NBA and NFL?
The last person that should be speaking out about any type of violence or safety or security, given his history, is Alec Baldwin. You think that man would have crawled under a rock and just taken a 5-year hiatus from anything after his scandals. But no, he's got a reality show on TLC to promote, Brian, and I think that's what mostly this is about.
By the way, he happened to be, as a proud heterosexual male, one of the most attractive men in his 30s and 40s. He looks like he's been through hell and back.
Well, he has. He has. But
right.
I love it when these Hollywood types, I love it when they talk about President Trump and the derangement that they have, because it only proves how out of touch they are and their party is with everyday Americans. The things that he's saying, DC's, why does they want to go to DC? And then Boston and New York? Yeah, actually, the people that are scared there would love it if President Trump would come there and make it better. But that's how out of touch they are. They have private security, they live in gated communities, and they're poo-pooing people who care about their safety and security, who actually live in these communities.
You know, the most egregious example has to be Senator Schumer when he comes out and says, I walk every day, when he's surrounded by Secret Service, and he acts like we can relate to that. That's why he has invisible friends and a 34% approval rating. But the president's changed the culture, and Hollywood's benefiting. Big story in the New York Times over the weekend, and I'm fascinated by it. Do you know, with the absence of DEI and the pushback of political correctness and the jeans commercial, people are standing up. And now you can put attractive women into movies and commercials again. And get this, white people can actually get jobs again. All because Trump's pushing back at the DEI that ruined their industry.
Right.
And they started it, but they're benefiting from Trump pushing back on it while not supporting him.
Right, but they'll still grandstand at all the award ceremonies and talk about how they need DEI and they need all these things. And the loudest ones that are...
Do you think they will do that still?
Yes, they cannot help themselves. And it's the ones that are doing it are the whitest, most liberal ones, if you notice. I mean, that's really who's leading the cry for this. But they will never stand down and they will never say, well, you know what, I'm going to give up my role or I'm going to give up my paycheck to a person of color who's transgender and a refugee. I've never seen that happen.
You know what's interesting? If you're a producer or a director, and let's say you're way to the left, but you have a key grip that you always can count on, a script writer, a runner, you know, big jobs, small jobs. You go, yeah, I need an Indian. I need a transsexual. I need a black person. I need a white person. So they're filling gaps with ethnicities instead of the people that they're comfortable with, that they know that can do jobs, or they're not eligible for funding or awards. And they are going, at what point, what did we do to ourselves?
Well, as more movies flop, I think you're going to see that go away. And it's partly because President Trump is making it okay to have things based on merit again. But that doesn't really, Hollywood isn't really touched by what President Trump does. They live in such a bubble there. I know, because I used to be in LA. That is just such a different world. But what does speak to them is money. And I don't know about you, but I love going to the movies. I cannot find a decent movie in theaters. They just don't exist. They all suck.
Here's the thing. This is what I hear. Naked Gun 2 is good. They said it could bring back comedies. Yeah, Eric and Pete, did you see it? Naked Gun?
Not the remake, only the original.
Believe it or not, I'm hearing great things about Naked Gun 2.
Liam Neeson, Pam Anderson. Yeah, I've heard good things as well.
So it could be the comeback of the comedy. We used to have comedies that were funny.
And comedy, I think, has been okay. But if you're trying to go to a serious movie or a thriller, that's what I love to go see in the movie theater. You had Top Gun, and then after that,
Spider-Man?
I would be.
I don't know.
No.
I know.
And then they had Superman, was based on the immigrant story.
That they chose the time, manner, and place to send their district director outside right when we're about to have this press conference. She said everything you know about Donald Trump's America. And that was top down. You know that for a fact. And they'll deny it, I'm sure. Maybe they won't deny it. She said everything you know about the authoritarian tendencies of the President of the United States.
That is Governor Newsom pretending as if it's just him and Donald Trump. Only he can save the country from Donald Trump when he has done such a terrible job in California, and now he wants to put a referendum out to redistrict, and he had a presser yesterday. But Tomi Lahren, who's getting set to host Outnumbered shortly, Tomi, at the presser outside, they say unrelated, Border Patrol was in action, are making some illegal immigrant arrests. You think it was related?
Well, here's the deal. In Los Angeles, you can swing a dead cat and hit an illegal immigrant. So it's a target-rich environment. So as they said this morning on America's Newsroom, we can go anywhere in L.A. and we're probably going to find an illegal alien. And not only that, we're probably going to find a criminal illegal alien. So their thing was, hey, listen, there was somebody in the area. Whether it is or is not, I think it's an excellent troll by the president. I mean, listen, if you're going to hold this rally and you're launching your presidential campaign, let's be honest, that's what this all was, then we're going to send CBP. And I think that it was an excellent move, and I'm all for it. And I love to see Gavin get his undies in a twist.
All right, here is what was happening outside the event that Gavin Newsom was hosting, Cut 51.
The governor's inside right there.
I don't know where he's at.
He's about 100 feet behind us. Do you have any comment from him or anything?
Again,
any message?
We're making Los Angeles and California a safer place. We're going to continue to do that, and they can take that one to the bank and cash it.
Yeah, and they can cash it. And I tell you what, that is the Border Patrol Chief, Greg Bavino. So it wasn't ICE, it was the Border Patrol, which is really sealed the border, despite what California wanted them to do. And now they're chasing down the illegal immigrants. And Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom think they got the public on their side.
Yeah, because they're speaking to a small crowd in LA that's cheering for them. I watched the video, and they want to make it look like they had a packed crowd. More people show up to light Waymos on fire and wave Mexican flags than show up to a Gavin Newsom rally and a Karen Bass rally, okay? So they think they've got this sizable push. They're in Los Angeles, in one of the bluest places in the country, and that's their crowd, and they're touting this as some kind of, a national wave of excitement for what they're doing. I don't think so. Gavin Newsom, again, is hard launching his 2028 campaign, and he's using anything and everything to be anti-Trump because it's about Gavin. I mean, if he comes up with another podcast in the next month, that'd be number 3 in the last 2 years.
Have they approached you about doing his podcast?
They won't have me. They said, oh, not right now.
Not right now.
And I said, please,
but
I would love to.
You wanted to do it, right?
Well, he wanted to talk to conservatives. Remember, that was the whole pitch of the thing, this is Gavin, but that didn't last too long. But they won't have me. So we'll see.
So tell me, what do you think is going to happen today? Everyone's got an educated guess about how this plays out. What do you think? I'm talking about Alaska.
Yes. I think President Trump just having the conversation is an important step. And I think he's doing it to gauge the intentions. And I think that no matter what, it's a positive step forward. But what we really need to talk about, Brian, is something more important. And it's the fact that your family has a new dog.
Oh, yes.
And we must talk about it. And we must show the photos.
Are you a dog fan?
I of course. I'm an all animals fan. But I think we have photos. I've been told we have photos and video of your new dog, but we don't know the name yet. So we got to break some news.
All right. So we're going to go with Bear.
Okay.
Bear joins Willow, who's a 120-pound Great Pyrenees. But Bear has a couple of things we got to work on. Bear in his early years, which is not 1 yet, but 12 weeks, has not been in a crate and has not been confined. So the first time we put him in a crate, he thought we were putting her in prison, not for it. And then even putting a playpen area to bracket it out, that was a bit of an adjustment. So this is our 5th puppy. This is the biggest surprise. But the dog, I've never seen a dog just lay out as if he was shot. When he goes to lay on the ground, all the paws go flat out and he just collapses. And so far, the older dog does not like the younger dog.
Really? That'll change. That'll
so.
change. How old is Willow?
Willow's 3.
Okay, so that's not very old.
Right.
That's still a pretty young dog.
And the thing is, too, it's one of those things where as soon as you get the dog, you go, oh, my goodness, now you cannot leave the house for too long. Now you got to make sure to go back. Now at the end of the night, you got to make sure to put her on the AstroTurf in order to go. So there's a little bit of lifestyle change.
Yes. You're becoming a new parent.
Again. To a dog. A little bit more responsive. But we'll see. I will bring Willow in, but it should be on a Friday when you can be here. Right?
I would love to.
Right.
I would love to have all the dogs. I think we should have a dog day anyway. I've been pushing this for years. Why do we not have a dog day?
Do you have a dog?
I have 2 dogs, yes.
You do? Really? Mm-hmm. What kind of dogs?
I have my little rescue Chihuahua, who's an old grumpy lady, and then my husband, who's now my dog, our joint dog, but he's gone 8 months a year playing baseball, coaching baseball, so it's become both of my dogs. But he's a golden doodle, a fancy.
So right now, who's watching the dog?
Well, right now I have a Rover, which is, if you haven't heard of Rover, you need to use it. It's like Uber for your dogs. You have a trusted sitter. They come pick the dog up. They drop the dogs back off. They send you photos. They show them sleeping and eating and all these things. It's great.
I've never heard of this.
You need Rover. It's an app. Go get it. You can find all the verified sitters on there. Pick your sitter. I use the same few ones every time.
Tomi, do you know? So you don't know these people? You do know?
Well, you get to know them. You got to do a little meet and greet. You can't just trust anyone with your dogs. Well, yeah. I have them go to their house. They come pick my dogs up, take them to their house, and they send me photos and all this. So you got to vet these people, of course. But yeah, I have like a few trusted ones that I oscillate between based on their availability. It's a great invention.
You always seem to be a step ahead.
Well, you got to get on the apps, you know?
Right.
It's like these Rover apps, it's like a dating app, but for your dog. And you can go and you can search. For me, I'm like, okay, the one with the green hair probably is not going to like me very much. I've had Rovers ghost me when they realize who I am, by the way.
Oh,
They'll
really?
come meet the dogs. They love the dogs. They look at me and they're like, and I never hear from them again.
Do you have people that only want to deal with you too? Don't you have super fans as well?
Sure. Well, I don't know if they're super fans. They like me. They're like-minded. It's Tennessee, right?
Right.
But they don't outwardly tell me that. But the ones that don't like me, when they just stop responding to me, I'll be like, are you good? Oh, good for Thursday? And no response. Like, well, that was a liberal.
I mean, you've put up with so much but you go into these markets that don't embrace you like New York and California. But this studio, you're safe. And Tomi, lastly, what is with the Mets? You have a family member with the Mets.
Yeah.
And they've lost 13 of 15. This was a team that was up by about 4 after coming off a tremendous season last year.
So here's a couple things need to happen. They've got some great talent in AAA that they should utilize on the
How would you know that?
On the coaching side. Just a premonition I have. Okay. But also, last year, the key was Grimace. Remember the McDonald's character? Grimace came, the purple thing, and then they were on a hot streak. They need to bring a McDonald's character back.
Just bring back any McDonald's character.
Hamburglar, any of them. I don't know. Whatever one it takes. And bring them back, give them a seat, and they'll get hot again.
Tomi Lahren, thanks so much. We're going to watch you on Outnumbered, and we pick you up on OutKick. And were you going to be on anything else this weekend?
Nope, that'll do it. I'll be back in Nashville.
All right, back in Nashville. Tomi, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The biggest issue right now, and an issue that's really taken hold, is crime, stopping crime in the cities. And the Democrats are fighting the stopping of crime. So I think that's like men playing in women's sports is okay, or transgender for everybody okay. But this is a bigger issue. This is the biggest of all issues.
And the president's taken action. Now he put his own person in charge of the city. Their city is suing back. The mayor left for Narragansett to pick up her daughter at work, but she's coming back. And now the president's in charge. I mean, you see them taking out the homeless encampments. You see them getting rid of the graffiti on the streets. You see the patrol, the men and women in camouflage throughout the area. And I understand the cops are able to go into the more economically challenged areas of Washington, D.C., and now they're challenging the numbers, the crime numbers. Is it true that all the murders and assaults are all down? Now the America First Legal is making a FOIA request on a lot of this information because there is some accusations flying around. Trey Gowdy used to work in Washington full-time. He escaped. He now is the host of Sunday Night in America with Trey Gowdy, but he kept his law degree. And therefore, also, I should mention, too, Sunday at 9 o'clock, but he's got a book coming out shortly called The Color of Death. It's a novel. It's coming out in, I think, in the next 2 weeks. Trey, welcome back.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing great. Your thoughts about the fact that the city of Washington, D.C., I should say, District of Columbia, is suing to get control of the police back. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, Brian, Pam was in South Carolina Wednesday and Thursday, so I had a chance to talk to her Attorney General Pam Bondi. She also brought the new head of the DEA. Look, the District of Columbia belongs to all of us. I mean, this notion they should be a new state, if you really want senators, then you should retrofit yourself back into Maryland or Virginia. But you cannot run the city. Brian, I'm not there that often, but the last time I was there, I was literally going to the Department of Justice. That is a nice section of D.C. And I watched this person pushing, harassing people walking to work, pulling flowers out of a planter, pushing over electric bicycles, basically terrorizing people. Clearly she had mental health issues, but you should not go through that walking to work. So if Muriel Bowser and the D.C. City Council can't fix it, and clearly they cannot, then public safety is the number one function of government, and the Capitol belongs to all of us. It does not belong to just the people who happen to live in that zip code.
So what do you think the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, when he came out and told us on Fox and Friends 2 days ago that he says, yeah, I used to be in the military. The National Guard is not trained to do law enforcement, and they're not allowed to. It's all show. What do you think about that?
Let's assume he's right. What do you think the effect is if you park a cop car outside a nightclub establishment? What do you think happens to crime rate when you do that? What happens when you put even cop cars that don't have cops in it on the highway? People slow down. So what if part of it is perception? I mean, life is perception. These soldiers don't have to do a single thing. They don't have to Mirandize people. They don't have to arrest people. Their mere presence deters the criminal element. So even if that progressive governor of Maryland is correct, I'd still say do it because it frees the cops up to do what they want to do. They don't have to create the presence. And good luck committing a crime in front of a National Guardsman.
So, by the way, good point. America First Legal is suing to find out what these crime stat numbers really are. Are they being manipulated? Because there is a problem with this guy, Michael Pullian. He was suspended by after questioning, reportedly, his commanding officer, recording of stats when it comes to assaults and other things. And now they want his emails and records. They want to find out about the communication. Was there a formal effort to affect the stats? Because anecdotally, things don't seem better, but statistically, they do. So what do you think they're going to find there?
Brian, with the possible exception of weight and height, people lie more about crime stats than anything else in the world.
Really?
Maybe possibly their weight might be higher. We had a city in South Carolina that recorded 0 DUIs for the year, not a one. Now, do you really think no one in that city drove impaired for an entire year? Or do you think the cops were just lousy at catching them? And the other thing, the game that D.C. plays is their crime stats were at historic highs 2 years ago. So they have no place to go but down. So it is true. Both things can be true. Mm-hmm. Crime numbers are going down, and they're still astronomically high. Both of those things can coexist, and guess what? They do in the District of Columbia. So you went from record high homicides, and now you will have slightly fewer, and you want us to pat you on the back?
So, Trey, what's the difference now? He goes into Washington, D.C., and even though he's being sued, it looks like constitutionally he could do what he's doing, right? He puts his own police chief in charge. The DEA director is going to be in charge at least for 30 days, and they're going to start cracking down on the city. They're cleaning up, getting rid of graffiti, small things, and also cracking down on crime. Got it. So let's say he identifies a bad situation in Chicago. Could he move in without the permission of the governor and mayor?
Yes, because we have dual sovereigns. We have dual jurisdictions. So, Illinois has its own state crimes, but there are federal crimes that are committed in Illinois. And those would be, Pritzker has nothing to do with that. Those are U.S. attorneys' offices, FBI agents, DEA agents. So, politically, I can't wait to hear the argument that cracking down on crime is unfair to criminals. Good luck running for office on that, because crime is actually not a political issue to me. You know who it impacts the worst? You alluded to it in your opening. You and I are not impacted by it. We live in neighborhoods where, first of all, we can move if we wanted to. It is a tax on poor people because they don't have the mobility. And I'm sitting here thinking of this 80-year-old grandmother who has worked her entire life, who goes to bed at night to the sound of gunshots. And you want to run for office telling me that that's just as good as it's going to get for her? So, no, Trump, look, will there be litigation? Of course there will be. Everything is litigated now. But the United States government has certain criminal statutes, kidnappings, carjackings, drugs, RICO, and the president is the chief executive over that, and that includes states like Illinois and even my own state of South Carolina if he wanted to do it.
So the other big issue legally before we get to the big summit, Trey, is what Gavin Newsom's doing. In an answer to Texas, he says he's going to put a referendum out to allow a suspension of an independent evaluator to district. And he's going to redistrict California and try to squeeze out 5 more seats because Texas is doing that, and he thinks the president's behind it. Here's the governor with 38% approval rating in California, cut 47.
Here we are, in open and plain sight, before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done.
So the governor thinks he's going to do this. It's going to pass. The stats say it won't pass. The people wanted to have independent. And also, didn't they squeeze out, Trey Gowdy, most of the Republicans?
Yeah, I don't know who's left. This is the same guy that went to the French Laundry during the COVID lockdown,
same
right?
guy.
I want to make okay, all right. I want to make sure I got the right guy. Okay, and he also was the mayor of San Francisco when they had historically high crime. I think if we're talking about the same Gavin Newsom. So I would tell even my independent and left-leaning friends, look at the number, look at the percentage of vote that President Trump got in California, and then juxtapose that with the number of Republicans that are actually representing that state. I mean, there are so many lawmakers that come from California. I mean, I think it's more than like 3 or other pretty significant states combined. There are a ton of House members that come from California. So what you have to start with is the 2020 census was wrong. It was wrong, Brian. So why would you use wrong numbers? And it unfairly treated red states. There's been much more movement to Texas and to South Carolina and to Florida than there has been to California. So why would you use wrong numbers for a decade? So if you're redistricting to reflect the anomalies of the 2020 census, more power to you. If you're redistricting because, as Gavin Newsom said, he wants to be the end of the Trump presidency, he sounds like Adam Schiff with slightly more hairspray.
I just don't find anything about him trustworthy or promising, but he's clearly running for president with all this grandstanding. So in New York City, a place you try to avoid, I understand that, and more than you understand it because I come here every day. I'm from Long Island, though, for if everyone's keeping records. You have a Zoran Mamdani who's got a 20-point lead after winning the Democratic primary, but he does not have endorsements from Hakeem Jeffries, Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, almost any of the leaders outside Elizabeth Warren. But it turns out he did get an important phone call and a lot of advice. And the phone call lasted over an hour from Barack Obama. Listen to Mamdani, cut 36.
We spoke about the importance in a moment such as this, where politics is often characterized by a language of darkness. Just yesterday, we had a press conference in Staten Island. I had to walk through a number of New Yorkers who told me to go back where I came from. And I know that those New Yorkers are representative just of themselves. And yet, sadly, that is what politics has become for far too many.
Right. New York City. How about Manhattan? Zoran Mamdani of Uganda birth. So why would Obama pick up the phone and call Mamdani when most experts agree he's bad for the Democratic brand? And Hakeem Jeffries reportedly said, if he gets elected, we will not get back the House. What does Obama see that other Democrats don't? That he's can speak on, he's good on his feet, but what he stands for, to me, is scary to other Democrats, let alone us.
What does Obama see? Himself in the mirror, like Narcissus did. He's just having a hard time exiting stage left.
It's amazing.
He's weighing in on the Texas redistricting. He weighed in on Russiagate. He's coming out of whatever, $500,000 speech cave he's been inside. Look, he was president when he was really young, so it's tough to be irrelevant. But look, Barack Obama led to Donald Trump. You can draw a straight line from Barack Obama to Donald Trump. Mamdani is not Obama. I don't think he has his charisma. I don't think he has his rhetorical skills. But Mamdani is going to hurt the Democrat Party. So my vote is to buy him more airtime so he can continue talking about taxing based on race. How well do you think that goes over in Main Street America?
Yeah, well, it would be easy if white people just would voluntarily give us more money in tax money. That would help the country, so we wouldn't have to mandate it. But it is crazy that he's doing this, still has this lead. But I didn't think that Barack Obama would identify him as. And by the way, David Axelrod went and visited their headquarters. Dan Pfeiffer and John Favreau, two staffers for Obama, have been in contact to try to help them. I just don't understand. One thing about Mamdani, he tells you what he's about. He's about defunding the police. He's about banning billionaires. He's about taxing the rich more, right out of the city, it seems. So,
I'm
he's
glad
telling
Obama's
you.
not calling Roy Cooper, Andy Beshear, some of the red state, Democrat governors, because that should be the future of the Democrat Party. As long as it's AOC and Gavin Newsom and Mamdani, then Republicans will continue to be a majority party.
So today, and I know you'll be talking about it on Sunday, we'll see where it stands in Alaska in about 5-6 hours. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump will go behind closed doors, but not talk necessarily about U.S.-Russian relations. They're going to be talking about ending a war the president has nothing to do with, except for some degree we're financing and supporting Ukraine. And I wish we were doing more. I'm on the record of saying that over and over again. But having said that, I like where the president's go right now. We're getting drones. They're getting more military equipment, getting Patriot batteries. Europe has stepped up. But this is a grinding war that most everybody wants to see end. Trey, how do you think this plays out?
I had the pleasure of being with the president all day Saturday. We played golf at, obviously 8 before and after, and got to hear him out. He does not like war because it is such a senseless waste of life. That's what he keeps focusing on, the senseless loss of life. And if you don't have life, nothing else really matters. I am thankful. I think Ratcliffe is going on this trip with him. Marco will be there. So he's got really, really skilled people. And I think Trump, people who, there's a difference between understanding someone and liking someone. I think he understands Putin because he's dealt with bullies in the past. But Putin, I don't think, understands Trump because he just launched another offensive against Ukraine. In the past, he's talked about ceasefires and then hit civilian targets. I think Trump's going to say this. Look, if you do not agree to a ceasefire, which is number one, then there are going to be sanctions not only on you, but on every country that deals with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come squealing and crawling back to the negotiating table. Russia is a war-loving nation. You look at their history, they love to wage war, even against the Finns. I mean, who wants to fight the Finns? They're wonderful, nice people, except Russia. So can he change that historical mindset? No. Can he say there are going to be serious sanctions if you do not stop your invasion? I don't even call it a war, Brian. It was a Russian invasion of another sovereign country, and they took land. And also, by the way, they took about 20,000 children. So I hope the president says, look, stop the killing, return the kids to their parents, and then Europe, Zelensky, and if you need me, I'll come and we'll negotiate territorial boundaries. But number one, stop the killing.
Trey Gowdy, we're going to make sure to watch your show at 9 o'clock on Sunday, and also pre-order your book. It's called The Color of Death. Comes out August 26th. Thanks so much, Trey. It's going to be an interesting time. Great time to have a weekend show, right? It's a great time to analyze all this.
I love being the lead-in to Brian Kilmeade. That's the name of my show, the lead-in to Brian Kilmeade.
Well, I just want to touch your ratings. That's all that matters. Trey, thanks so much.